My name is Sally Bafo. I'm an adoptive parent and also an adoption specialist. We talked about the process. We said you've been to an introduction evening, you've been with your family or support networks, whoever you can to take with you, because you need to come away from there, have a discussion with them, churn it up in your mind. It helps you make up your mind as to which you want to go, whether you want to adopt or you want to foster. You've made that decision. What happens is you will go home, having considered very carefully whether you want to do it. You might decide not to do it at all after hearing what it entails. And if you decide that you want to go ahead, you call the social workers again, because they're giving you a number that you can call directly. You call them and express your interest to go ahead with it. They will then send they might either send a social worker to come and visit you, or at that point they will then decide to invite you to what's going to be an adoption training meeting. But before that, they would have sent someone. After the adoption introduction evening, a social worker, you'd contact them to let them know that you're interested. A social worker would be allocated to you, and they would come and make a first home visit. This first home visit is really to establish your commitment to adoption and also whether you're going to be adopting or fostering. They want to have an idea about your living conditions and to find out whether or not it would be adequate to support your role as an adoptive parent or foster carer. They would also want to have a sense of what motivates you to do this. I will point out here that at this point, even though your assessment has actually began, which is actually going to be the home study, you're also not only being assessed, but you're actually being trained in the process. This first visit is going to clarify in the social worker's mind that you are, adoptive parent material. From there, they'll invite you to a 4-day training program, which is called the Adoption Preparation Program. It's typically 4 days in Britain. It's a very interesting program. In another video, I will go through exactly the issues that are covered in that particular training program. But for the purpose of this short video, I'll just skim over that and say you have quite an intensive training session that would give you a sense of exactly who comes into care system, why the children come into care, the legal processes that you have to go through, and also how to manage the children's behavior and the sorts of experiences that you're likely to expect. Once this training is done, while the training is being done, you're being assessed, as I said. After that training, the social workers would gather. Usually you'd have an adoptive parent at that training session. You'd also have social workers there, and it's participatory. You'll be assessed. They'll come away and form some form of an opinion about you. They would at that point actually have the right to decide to continue with the assessment or discontinue it if they feel at that point that you may not actually be ready to take on adoption. If they do decide that you're adoption material, they will continue, and from then on you'll be having what you call a home visit, home study. This is where they come and see you over a period of time, probably 7, 8 or 9 visits to your home to discuss your life, your employment history, medical history. They'll check with your general practitioner about your medical history. They will also do a criminal records bureau check on you, because it's so important that one knows whether or not the person has got a criminal record that actually will not be compatible with them caring for a vulnerable child, because the children you'll be caring for tend to be very vulnerable children. Once all of this has been done, a report is written. The report will be sent to you for you to go over. Make sure when you receive those reports that the report is a correct representation of the discussion that you have, of the way that you see yourself and the way you want to present yourself. You are quite entitled to make changes or write minority reports in addition to that. And then once you have agreed it and signed it off, the social worker will take it to a panel. This panel is made up of both social workers, independent panel members who may be adoptive parents, somebody who's been adopted, and then you also have a doctor, a medical doctor, you've got a lawyer on the panel, and you've got an independent chair. The idea is an independent panel would look at this report, and then they would actually make a recommendation after looking at it very carefully and considering all the facts, make a recommendation for you to be approved as a prospective adopter. Once that decision has been made, they've made that recommendation, that decision, it's taken to a decision maker who is normally the head of children's services in that local authority, and they will be the ones to make the final decision to approve you. Once you get the approval as a prospective adoptive parent, you're ready for a child to be placed with you.